Hi everyone, and welcome to the Ecology Mapping Workshop. Today, we'll explore the use of technology, specifically mapping software, for ecological conservation. In today's activity, we'll be looking at data that has been collected on the presence of various shark species around the coast of South Africa. Before we begin, let's just ensure that everyone is able to log into their Google accounts, as well as access the Google My Maps website. Not just Google Maps, but Google My Maps. Okay, so hopefully everyone was able to access the Google My Maps website. If you require extra time to do so, please let your instructor know and they'll provide that extra time for you. If everyone was able to access the website, please join me in creating a map. To do so, we click on the Create a New Map button and a new map will be created for you. Okay, now that we've created our map, let me draw your attention to the menu. This menu will serve as the location where you will introduce all your data sets as well as make changes to your maps. So again, remember, this menu in the top left corner is where you're able to add data to your map as well as make any changes to the data that were added. Okay, so now that your map has been created, we'll be giving this map a name. To do so, we'll be clicking on Untitled Map and replacing that with the name Shark Spotter Sites and Sightings. So again, we'll be clicking on Untitled Map and replacing that with the name Shark Spotter Sites and Sightings. To complete our activity today, we'll be using two datasets. These are the sharksightings.csv dataset and the sharkspotterbeaches.csv datasets. These datasets are important to the field of spatial ecology because we require these in order to map our sightings. Now that your datasets have been downloaded, we'll be importing these datasets onto our map. To import our first dataset, we'll be clicking on Untitled Layer and we'll be hitting that Import button. Here, we'll be able to drag and drop our downloaded sharksightings.csv file into our data. So again, you can drag and drop that file or you can click to add that file. Do so now. Now that we've imported our data set, we have to choose columns that will allow us to position our place markers. Since we have access to latitudinal and longitudinal data within this data set, we will select lat long. After ensuring the lat long boxes are checked off, hit continue. You will then be asked to select one of your columns as the title of the markers. In this case, we'll choose date as that selection. After that, hit OK or finished. One of the goals of making these ecological maps is ensuring that it is easily read and accessible to others. To do so, we ensure that the names of each of our layers gives a bit of an understanding of what each of these layers contain. For this first layer, we will change the name from sharksightings.csv by clicking on sharksightings.csv, and that will give us the option to edit the name. We'll now be changing this name to sightings 8/9/2012 to 22/2013. Again, to do so, we're clicking on sharksightings.csv. This will enable us to edit the name and we can easily copy and paste the name provided into the box, or you can type it out. Now that we've completed adding our first layer and editing the name of that layer, we'll be adding our second layer. This is the sharkspotterbeaches.csv. This contains the data, the locational data specifically, and the names of beaches where these sightings took place. To do so, we follow the same process of clicking Add Layer. Then we select Import. Then we select either drag and drop or go through the selection process of getting our Shark Spotter beaches.csv file into our map. Then you'll also be asked again to select the data that denotes the position. Again, we're using latitude and longitude in this case. And then for the title, we select beach. Then we hit finish. In keeping with the trend of making sure that these maps are easily read by others, we'll be changing the name of this second layer as well. So, as we did previously with the first layer, we will click on the layer name. In this case, this Shark Spotter -beaches.csv. When we click on that name, text box will appear that will allow us to edit the name. In this case, we'll be naming this new layer Shark Spotter Beaches. Again, you can type this out or you can copy and paste the name into the editing bar. Again, the name is Shark Spotter Beaches. Okay, now we're pretty much finished with all the more difficult parts of creating these ecological maps with the addition of data, ensuring that the locations are correct and everything, and the names are easily read. Now we're going to spend some time to style our maps. Adding these stylistic features to your maps ensures continuity, and again, because we're trying to ensure that these are easily read by others, we are creating iconography that people could easily relate to and follow along with your map. We will start by editing the pins that denote our shark sightings. In Google My Maps, we have access to a shark icon. But before we can do so, what we need to do is we go to the sightings map layer. That's our initial layer, our first layer. And we're going to hover our cursor over the all items icon. In doing so, we'll see a tipped paint can appear towards the right of the menu. Then we click on that paint can and we will see a new menu pop up with choices of icons, including colors and shapes. When this secondary menu appears, we click on the More Icons button, and this will give us an entire range of icons that we can choose. To quickly find the shark icon or the shark fin icon, we can easily type the word shark in the filter bar and the icon would appear for you. Now we select that shark fin and we can watch our pins on the map change their shape. Now that we've edited our pins for our first layer, we'll do the same for the second layer. In this case, however, we will be creating two groups of icons, since some of these beaches are permanent beaches and some of these beaches are temporary beaches. To do so, we go to the Shark Spotter Beaches layer, and beneath this layer you will see individual styles next to a rolling paintbrush. We go to this individual styles layer, or should I say icon, and we click on individual styles. Then we will see a secondary menu appear and we'll be asked to group places. We select group places by type, and this will switch our icons, or should I say our pins, just to denote both permanent and temporary Shark Spotter beaches. Okay. Now that we have our layer separated into two types, permanent beach and temporary beach, we will go about changing the icons for each of these pins. Personally, I chose to separate these two pins by one as a person swimming, another as a person walking. For the permanent beach, in order to change that icon, you go towards permanent beach, hover over it, then you'll see that tipped paint can once again. Clicking on this paint can, you'll then open that secondary menu. You look at the bottom of that secondary menu and you will see more icons. This is the part where I'll give you some free reign of choosing what icons you want to denote your permanent beach and your temporary beaches as. Personally, I chose the swimming for the permanent beach. So I typed swimming, or tried to type swimming at least, into the filter. And I got that swimming icon. Repeating the same process for the temporary beach. You go over temporary beach, you hover over it, you see that paint can, you click on that paint can, it opens that secondary menu. You click on more icons and you go to the filter if you have an idea of what you're looking for. If you want to type walking or running as your secondary beach, or you can scroll through the list of icons and select one from there. Now that the icons have been changed in our maps, again, you had free reign to stylize the map a bit how you would like to in terms of selecting the icons. Again, I personally chose the swimming and walking to denote the permanent and temporary beaches respectively. Now, we're going to change the style of the base map. You would have recognized as soon as we created the map, a style of base map was selected for us. If we choose to change the look of this base map, we can do so. To change the style of our base map, we go to the very bottom of our menu. We see that base map with a downward arrow. Click on that downward arrow and this will open up an entire base map menu for you. You can see there are a bunch of different types of base map styles, ranging from satellite imagery to terrain, but for today's purpose, we'll just select light landmass. This is the base map on the bottom left of our menu. Again, we go to base map, which is at the bottom of our menu bar. We select that down arrow and it gives us a range of base map styles to use. And today we just will select light landmass, which is at the bottom left of our base map menu. Okay, now we're coming to the end of our activity. We've created our map, we've added our layers, we've stylized the icons, we've even changed the base map. Now, we're just going to ensure that we label the data. Again, this map is not only for us, but for others to read as well. And the more we can do to make it easy for them to navigate these maps, the better. So now we're about to label our data. As promised, now we'll work to label our data. To do this, we go under the shark spoiler beaches. We click on style by type and we go down to where we see set labels. We'll see no labels, but we click on this button. Then we'll see beach name. We click on beach name and then we'll see the name of the beaches pop up on our map. Again, we go to our shark spoiler beaches layer. We click on style by type. When we click on this icon, we see a secondary menu pop up. We go down till we see no labels. You click on that button and then you should see beach name. We click on beach name and now we would have provided the names of the beaches on our map. Thank you for joining me today through this journey through our ecology mapping workshop. Now you might be wondering, why is this all important? Just a bit about myself. Your narrator, my name is Adisa and I'm a spatial ecologist. My work involves the use of ecological data, such as what we use here today, that can be collected either by scientists or the general public, such as yourself. And then, when provided with this data, I am able to map this data using mapping software. Today we used an open accessible software. In this case, we used Google My Maps. In my work, I use a more complicated version of this mapping software. But with the combination of these data, we're able to create these maps for people to understand the presence of various species. And understanding the presence of these species, we can then use this to protect the species. If it's a species that we need to keep separate from people, we can tell people not to swim in certain areas or not to engage these species. So we're both protecting the human side as well as the wildlife side. These data also help us to plan for our future in terms of developing more sustainable developments, as well as protecting our environment against whatever ecological crisis that we might be facing at a specific time. We can protect these species and ensure that both people and the wildlife enjoy a high quality of living. Again, I would like to thank everyone for joining me through this journey through mapping ecological data. Thank you to the instructor for allowing you to work through this activity, and thank you all for listening. Have a good day, everyone.